Hello friends, today we are going to study muscles of mastication. Learning objectives. At the end of this lecture, students should able to enumerate correctly the muscles of mastication. They should give its origin, insertion, nerve supply and actions. Muscles of mastication. They are divided into two groups. First group is principal muscles. They are temporalis. So this is temporalis, masseter, this is masseter, lateral pterygoid, this is lateral pterygoid, and medial pterygoid, this is medial pterygoid. So these are four principal muscles of mastication. Other group of muscles are accessory muscles. These accessory muscles are digastric, buccinator, mylohyoid and geniohyoid. So you can see here, this is posterior belly of digastric, this is anterior belly of digastric. Buccinator is not seen here. Then you can see the mylohyoid muscle. This is mylohyoid muscle up to here, and there is geniohyoid as well. One by one each muscle we will see. What is the function or how the principal muscles act, that we will see. All the principal muscles of mastication, they are located in and around infratemporal fossa. So you can see here, this is the region of the infratemporal fossa. So all the muscles are located around the infratemporal fossa. They all are inserted into the ramus of mandible. So this is the ramus of mandible, which has coronoid process, condyloid process, and this is anterior border of the ramus, this is posterior border of the ramus. All are innervated by mandibular division of trigeminal nerve. So all the muscles of mastication, they are derived from first arch, and the nerve of first arch is mandibular division of trigeminal nerve. So that's why all the muscles of mastication are supplied by mandibular nerve. All the muscles of mastication, they are concerned with movements of the mandible of the temporomandibular joint. And as I told you, they are developed from mesoderm of first pharyngeal arch. Medial surface, apex, anterior border of the coronoid process of ramus of the mandible. So you can see here, here is somewhere the ramus of the mandible, and at the anterior part of the ramus of the mandible there is a coronoid process. So temporalis is inserted on the medial surface, apex, then anterior border of the coronoid process, then anterior border of the ramus of the mandible almost up to the last molar tooth. So extension of the temporalis muscle is up to the last molar tooth. So that is the insertion of temporalis muscle. So you can see in this diagram, so this is coronoid process, and you can see it is inserted on the medial surface, the apex. So this is the apex, then this is anterior border, and the insertion is going up to the last molar tooth. Nerve supply. As I told you, this is one of the muscle of mastication derived from mesoderm of the first pharyngeal arch. It should be supplied from the mandibular nerve. So nerve supply to the temporalis is anterior and posterior deep temporal nerve. These two deep temporal nerves, they are branches of anterior division of the mandibular nerve. Now coming to the action of temporalis muscle. You can see here the contraction of this fan shaped temporalis muscle will lead to elevation of the mandible. So you can see here, if it is contracted, there will be elevation of the mandible. So due to this elevation, which action of the mandible is possible? It is the closing of the mouth, and it also approximate the teeth. The posterior fiber also responsible for the retraction of the mandible after it has been protracted. So after protraction, bringing back into its original position, that is retracted position, this position is done by the posterior fibers of temporalis muscle. Masseter muscle. Now coming to the origin of the masseter muscle. There are three layers of masseter muscle: superficial layer, middle layer, and deep layer. The superficial layer, it arises as, you can see, the thick aponeurosis of masseter muscle, from the maxillary process of zygomatic bone. So you can see this is the zygomatic bone. It has maxillary process, frontal process, this is orbital process. So you can see this is the maxillary process of zygomatic bone, and from there it is arising. And also the anterior 2/3, you can see here, this is the anterior 2/3 of inferior border of the zygomatic arch. Anterior 2/3 of the inferior border of the zygomatic arch. So this whole thing is the superficial layer. Now coming to the middle layer. Middle layer arises, we cannot see here the middle fibers of the masseter muscle, but it is arising from lower border of posterior 1/3 of the zygomatic arch. So you can see here, this is the lower border of posterior 1/3 of the zygomatic arch, and the deep fibers are arising from deep surface of the zygomatic arch. So that is about the origin of the masseter. So you can see here the aponeurosis, anterior 2/3, this is posterior 1/3, middle, and deep is from the medial surface of the zygomatic arch. Now insertion of the masseter. You can see here, this is the insertion of masseter. It is inserted on outer surface of ramus of the mandible and its coronoid process. So outer or external surface of coronoid process and the ramus of the mandible. Nerve supply, again it is a muscle of mastication developed from the mesoderm of the first arch, so supplied by branch of the mandibular nerve, and the nerve supplying to the masseter is masseteric nerve, a branch from anterior division of the mandibular nerve. Now coming to the action of the masseter. As you can see here, contraction of these masseter muscle will lead to the elevation of the mandible. So elevation is also done by temporalis as well as masseter. Now coming to the third muscle of mastication, that is lateral pterygoid. So this is lateral pterygoid. Origin of the lateral pterygoid. The small upper head of the lateral pterygoid is arising from infratemporal surface and crest of greater wing of sphenoid. So somewhere here, this is the greater wing of sphenoid. Its infratemporal surface and crest gives attachment or origin to the upper smaller head of the lateral pterygoid. The lower head, you can see here, this is the lower head, which is larger also, arises from lateral surface of lateral pterygoid plate of the sphenoid bone. So both the heads are coming from sphenoid bone. One is coming from the infratemporal surface and the crest of infratemporal surface of greater wing of sphenoid, and other is coming from the lateral surface of lateral pterygoid plate of the sphenoid bone. Now relations of the lateral pterygoid. You can see in this diagram, this is the upper head, lower head, smaller head and the larger head. What are the relations we will see? These are the superficial relations of the lateral pterygoid, in which there is a maxillary artery and their branches. So you can see here, this is a maxillary artery and its branches are middle meningeal artery, inferior alveolar artery, deep temporal artery, and this is the terminal portion, where inside also into the pterygopalatine fossa there are few branches. Along with these branches of the maxillary artery, few nerves are also lying superficially. Out of that, one is buccal nerve. So this is a buccal nerve. This one is masseteric nerve. Buccal nerve and the masseteric nerve. The deep surface of the lateral pterygoid is related with deep temporal nerve here, then again masseteric nerve, buccal nerve, and also inferior alveolar and lingual nerve. Inferior alveolar and lingual nerve. Now what are the structures passing through the gap between the two heads? So you can see here, buccal nerve and the maxillary artery, terminal portion of the maxillary artery. These two structures are passing through the gap between the two heads, upper smaller and lower larger. Structures emerging at upper border are masseteric nerve, deep temporal nerve and deep temporal arteries. These are emerging from the upper border. Now what are the structures emerging from the lower border. You can see here the middle meningeal artery, then inferior alveolar vessels and nerve, lingual nerve and the buccal nerve. So these are the structures which are along the inferior border of lateral pterygoid. So these are medial and lateral relations of the lateral pterygoid. Now coming to the insertion. As you can see in the diagram, it is inserted at two places. One, this dark colored area which is known as pterygoid fovea, which is present at the anterior surface of neck of the mandible. So this is depression present on the anterior surface of the neck of the mandible. It is called as pterygoid fovea. Some fibers are attached here, you can see, to the capsular ligament of the temporomandibular joint, and through it also articulating with the articular disc of the temporomandibular joint. So few fibers of the lateral pterygoid, they are also attaching to the articular disc and capsule of the temporomandibular joint. It is considered that this tendon of the lateral pterygoid is degenerated to form the articular disc of the temporomandibular joint. Now nerve supply, as other muscles of mastication are supplied by mandibular nerve, this is also supplied by mandibular nerve. The branch of mandibular nerve, which is called as anterior division of mandibular nerve, is supplying to the lateral pterygoid. Now coming to the actions of lateral pterygoid. This is the important muscle in depression of the mandible. So lateral pterygoid is considered as the only depressor of the temporomandibular joint, and that is how it opens the mouth. It opens the mouth by pulling forward condylar process of mandible and articular disc of the temporomandibular joint. During this depression, both sided lateral pterygoid is acting together. When lateral pterygoid and medial pterygoid muscles of two sides are acting together, the mandible is protruded. Mandible is protruded. Means lateral and medial pterygoid of the both sides, when they are acting together, it is causing the protrusion of the mandible. Then lateral and medial pterygoid muscles of two sides contract alternately to produce side to side movement. So one sided lateral pterygoid along with other sided medial pterygoid, while other sided lateral pterygoid and one sided medial pterygoid alternately, if they contract simultaneously, there is side to side movement of the lower jaw, as in chewing of the mouth. So that is lateral and medial pterygoid together. Now coming to the last muscle of the principal muscles of mastication, that is medial pterygoid. This medial pterygoid is a thick quadrilateral muscle which is present, as you can see, on the medial aspect of the ramus of the mandible as well as on the medial aspect of the lateral pterygoid plate. It consists of two heads, superficial and deep. So whatever you are seeing, this is the deep head and this one is a superficial head. Now coming to the origin, the small superficial head, the small superficial head is arising from maxillary tuberosity and lateral surface of pyramidal process of palatine bone. So small superficial head is arising from the maxillary tuberosity and lateral surface of pyramidal process of palatine bone. So this is the superficial head, its origin. Now large deep head, you can see here, which forms the majority of the muscle or bulk of the muscle, arises from medial surface of the lateral pterygoid plate and also grooved surface of the pyramidal process of the palatine bone. So you can see here is the depression between lateral pterygoid plate and medial pterygoid plate. From that portion, this medial pterygoid deep head is arising. Inferior alveolar nerve, then inferior alveolar artery, all these structures, they lie lateral to the medial pterygoid. So these are lateral or superficial relations of the medial pterygoid. Along with that, you can see the terminal portion of the maxillary artery with deep temporal and masseteric artery also lies lateral to the medial pterygoid. Of two sides, when contract alternately, produce side to side movements which are used to grind the food. So while chewing, specifically when grinding the food, this lateral and medial pterygoids of two sides, they contract alternately, producing side to side movement. So the medial pterygoid is helping in elevation, then also in the protrusion of the mandible and side to side movement. Now clinical correlation of the muscles of mastication. The muscles of mastication and their motor innervation can be tested clinically by asking the patient to clench his teeth repeatedly and then palpating temporalis in temporal fossa and masseter over the ramus of the mandible. If they found taut, then a nerve is tested clinically. Thank you so much. So in short, in muscles of mastication, you can remember there are four principal muscles of mastication. Those are temporalis, masseter, lateral pterygoid, medial pterygoid. Temporalis is fan shaped large muscle arising from the temporal fossa, inserting on the coronoid process of the mandible, causing elevation of the mandible and also the retraction. The masseter muscle is a quadrilateral present on the lateral surface of the ramus of the mandible, arising with three heads, the superficial, middle and the deep, from the zygomatic arch to the lateral surface of the ramus of the mandible. The third muscle, which is lateral pterygoid, has two heads, upper head and the lower head. Upper head arising from the infratemporal surface and crest of the greater wing of the sphenoid, and the lower head arising from the lateral surface of lateral pterygoid plate. Both are part of sphenoid bone. And lateral pterygoid is inserting on the pterygoid fovea, which is present on the anterior surface of the neck of the condylar process of the mandible. Lateral pterygoid is responsible for depressor of the mandible. It is the only depressor. It also helps in side to side movement and protrusion of the jaw. The medial pterygoid has also two heads, the superficial and the deep head. Superficial head arising from the pyramidal process of the palatine bone, and the deep head is arising from the medial surface of lateral pterygoid plate and the adjoining depression of the pterygoid process of the sphenoid bone. The medial pterygoid is inserted on the postero-inferior part of the medial surface of mandibular ramus up to the angle of the mandible, and it is responsible for the side to side movement along with action of the lateral pterygoid. That is all about the muscles of mastication. Thank you.